Now we need to understand and accept that Brian Laundrie does in fact represent a demographic of people among us. These people among us are those who are reckless and careless, unloving. They're bitter, they're angry, they're hostile, they're rageful. A lot of these people you come across daily. Some of you have these people in your own families. This demographic of people have infiltrated our churches. This demographic of people have infiltrated our jobs. And we no longer live in a time where you can even listen to your pastors say, well, just love these people. The modern day Western Christian congregation has opened its doors to allow a congregation of a mixture of people with this demographic: psychopaths, sociopaths, narcissistically abusive, domestically violent individuals. And the way in which they handle it is, we'll just continue to love them. We now know that no amount of love could have stopped Brian Laundrie from doing what he did to Gabby. No amount of love could have stopped Cain from doing what he did to his brother Abel. So it's up to you and it's up to me to even bypass the pastors and the ministers that are preaching to love everybody and to recognize and notice the fruit of people in our lives. And the other thing we have to do is understand that this demographic of people don't get away with anything. They, in fact, are cursed in this life, and they live with the curse. That is a life that's not worth living. Let's talk about this curse. This curse that Brian Laundrie currently lives with, that this demographic of people lives with, is in fact the same curse that we see put on Cain in the Old Testament of the Bible. So to begin with, those who say that Brian Laundrie has escaped and is now running and living a life, well, let's talk about this life. The life is actually a curse. The running and the hiding and the evading is more of a curse. The first part of it is that of banishment. Where some see Brian as running and hiding, the reality of it is that he's been banished. He's been banished from his neighborhood, sadly. He's been banished from his home. He's been banished from his family. He's been banished from his old friends. He's been banished from the places where he once enjoyed hanging out. He can't even show his face. And now this makes him potentially even more dangerous, because as he's aware of being banished, he has nowhere to go back to. None of his old friends, none of his family. He can't show his face. And so each new place he goes to, when that moment comes up where he feels threatened of what's chasing him, which is the curse, his banishment, when his banishment chases him and catches up to him, he feels like he risks being caught, then he can lash out again out of anger and out of frustration because of his banishment. The next curse, and that was the first curse we see on Cain. The second curse that we see that Cain has, that Brian has also, is that Brian can no longer work. The curse on Cain was that if he worked the ground, it would never yield anything to him. Brian Laundrie can't even work. How would Brian Laundrie even sustain a living? How can Brian Laundrie involve himself in a give and exchange, the way in which the world operates? He can't. A lot of people might fantasize this idea that Brian Laundrie is some kind of an outdoorsman. He doesn't need to be a part of the economic system. He doesn't need to be a part of the goods exchange, so to speak, in order to live. He can live off the land. Listen, just because a person can stuff a backpack full of granola bars and yogurt and make yogurt parfaits while eating Cliff Bars, that doesn't make them an outdoorsman. Unless Brian Laundrie is skilled and practiced in the art of hunting, skinning, degutting, cleaning, sterilizing, cooking, he's doomed and won't have protein. Unless he's able to farm and grow, cultivate, he's doomed in general, and he will starve. People can say all day long, well, he can eat bugs and berries and tree bark. Talk about a shock to a system. That dude will have diarrhea for years, right? It's a sad reality, but nothing he will do will bring forth good fruit. He's no longer an active part of contributing to the world in a meaningful, purposeful way. in which will allow a contribution back into his life. And then finally, Brian Laundrie is left to be a wandering, homeless individual. He will have no person to belong to, no family to belong to, as a result of his running and hiding. This is the curse. And this curse creates within somebody potentially even more danger. Because as somebody who is starving, now anybody who comes across his path is at risk for him to try his best to take what he needs from them. It's sad. There's no glorification of it. It eventually will catch up with him, and whatever life is being lived under this curse will end. It will end, sadly and tragically. Listen, it's up to you and me to recognize the fruits of what this looks like in life. Not so that we can run in and help, because no amount of help will help these individuals. They need to get the help themselves. But you and I have to turn off whatever it is that tells us to give to them and to love them, because it no longer works. You have to protect your life against this demographic so that you don't end up like Gabby Petito and all the others. Nobody is going to protect you as good as you are. Listen, I want to be a part of your healing journey. Down in the description box, you'll find access to my calendar where you can schedule one-on-one time with me. Telephone calls, FaceTime, WhatsApp video calls, it's all available for you down in the description box. And I'll be back with more videos for you right here on The Royal We.